National correspondent Mitch McCann is in New York, where the stock exchange is way down. White House correspondent Haley Bull is at the White House with reaction from the administration. And national correspondent Dan Grossman is in Denver with the latest on the jobs front. So let's start out now in New York with Mitch McCann. Mitch, it was a really brutal day on Wall Street on Thursday, and today really followed. Did we see any relief throughout the day at all?
Well, good afternoon from New York. Simply, the answer is no. There was no relief and the market rout has deepened. Even before the markets opened this morning, JP Morgan forecasted the probability of a recession was now at 60%. Yesterday, the markets closed at levels seen not since the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic, and we haven't seen any relief, as I've just mentioned. At the close, a few moments ago, the Dow Jones Industrial Average had fallen more than 2,200 points. The S&P 500 had fallen 5.97%, and the Nasdaq fell 5.82%, entering bear market territory. Now, today's Labour Department report on employment showed that the US economy added far more jobs than expected to do in March, increasing by 228,000. But that wasn't enough for the markets to turn around, especially after China announced it would be matching American tariffs. So another terrible day on the New York Stock Exchange.
Okay, Mitch, so which companies are seeing the biggest hits right now?
Well, much like yesterday, tech stocks were battered on the markets today. Apple, for example, which has a lot of its manufacturing in China, India and Vietnam. Apple's market value yesterday fell around $300 billion. It suffered again today. Its stock was down a few moments ago, 7% at the closing bell. Other tech stocks were down as well, including the electric vehicle maker Tesla. That was down 10.5%. And the chip maker Nvidia was also down 7% today. Now, consumer confidence is low right now, and that's likely to mean less Americans are looking to travel in the summer months ahead. Airline stocks have been falling in recent days. Today, Delta was down more than 4%, and United Airlines finished down almost 4.5% today. So many industries affected by these tariffs. It's a broad impact on the market.
Okay, Mitch McCann in New York, thank you so much for keeping an eye on the markets for us this week, Mitch. White House correspondent Haley Bull is live at the White House right now. Haley, how exactly is the administration reacting to the markets today?
Well, Joy, the White House is touting President Trump's sweeping new tariff policy and appears to be holding steady in their messaging on this front. Officials still believe that this new trade agenda will ultimately have medium and long-term benefits. But when we look at the markets falling for the second day in response to this, a senior administration official telling us that they're analyzing this with a number of methods. They're not just looking at this day to day, but also month to month and year to year. And that really reflects the viewpoint we heard from officials here leading up to this tariff announcement, that the market, in their view, is a, quote, snapshot in time. Now, Trump believes this will lead to a boost in production and revenue in the long run, more investments, writing on Truth Social to investors that, quote, this is a great time to get rich. But of course, some economic experts are warning of inflation projections, equating a tariff to a tax on consumers. Despite Trump urging Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell to cut interest rates, Powell today, as you mentioned earlier, warning that tariffs could, quote, generate at least a temporary rise in inflation. Countries across the world also closely watching this. While some are taking countermeasures, China, for instance, enacting a reciprocal 34% tariff on U.S. imports. Canada also taking steps. Others are looking to talk. A senior administration official saying many have reached out. Trump indicating he talked with the leader in Vietnam. And while officials told us immediately following this trade announcement earlier this week that this is a national emergency, not a negotiation, Trump has also said that the tariffs give them, quote, great power to negotiate. An official here telling us if a country wants to talk, they will listen. And this all comes as Secretary of State Marco Rubio is with his European counterparts overseas today, denying that markets are crashing, saying this.
But ultimately, the markets, as long as they know what the rules are going to be moving forward, and as long as that's set and you can sustain where you're going to be, the markets will adjust. Businesses around the world, including in trade and global trade, they just need to know what the rules are. Once they know what the rules are, they will adjust to those rules. So I don't think it's fair to say economies are crashing.
And Trump also indicating tariffs could be a means of negotiation with China as he pursues a deal over TikTok today, announcing he's keeping it running for an additional 75 days ahead of that deadline to reach a deal. Abijoy.
Haley Bull live for us at the White House. Thank you so much for your reporting, Haley.